Wind River Resort and Casino, we like to celebrate life's little moments. Oh, and the big ones too, because around here, when you're completely in the moment, that's when the magic happens. Come in and find your moment at Wind River Resort and Casino.
Good morning, everyone. The music is going. I knew it. It was going to happen. It's off. Woo, we did it. Hey, how you doing out there this Thursday morning? You were watching Coffee with Krueger. I, of course, if you haven't been watching it all, I am coming to you from Baja, Mexico. I'm on vacation here with my family. My mom has a house out here that she pretty much lives in here permanently. So I've been coming out here for 25, 30 years or so, maybe not quite 30, but this has become kind of a bit of a home away from home. So, I like to come out here for extended stretches, and which is going to be about 2 weeks. So this is the first week. Next week, I'll still be out here giving you the report as well. One of the beauties of, and some people say, well, how can you give the forecast when you're that far away? You can. That's the beauty of it. I've lived in Northern California for 25 plus years, and I know the weather. Even if I'm not there, I know what the weather is doing. And the beauty of forecast models is you can analyze them from anywhere in the world and still get a very good idea of what the weather is going to do. So that's kind of what's going on there. We have got a couple of people checking in this morning. We've got, looks like, let's see if I can check this in. Kimberly is saying, good morning. Good wishes to Baja. Well, I certainly appreciate that. Well, what do you say we get to our forecast here? And we're going to start off with Krueger's quick cast. But first, I want to take a look at Falcon's View, because this has been quite the shot here for the last several mornings. Doesn't look like it's quite as smoky as it has been over the last few mornings, and especially when you think over the last few days, especially earlier this week, where we did see some very smoky conditions out there. So things are certainly a lot better. Here's a look at your Krueger's quick cast for your Thursday, July 17th. Not much change through the rest of the week. In fact, through most of even next week. Now, highs will be near normal going into the weekend, but still your typical summer heat. Here's the thing, even though temperatures are around normal and even below normal, the normal high in the valley is about 100 degrees. Okay, so if it's normal, it's still hot. But we do expect a nice dip in the temperatures early next week. But still, don't get me wrong, because that doesn't mean it's going to be cool by any stretch of the imagination. But it has cooled off this morning, sitting at about 63 degrees for Redding, 61 out in Orville, 60 degrees in Susanville. We've got those temperatures in the low 50s here along the coast, and 50 out in El Turris. Let's get you out the door here for this morning. And what we're looking at here are temperatures in the upper 60s by 8 o'clock in the morning. Still some smoky skies for parts of Modoc County. We do have that fog along the coast with temperatures there in the low to mid 50s. The winds are still fairly calm out there this morning. Once again, same story. And by the afternoon, those winds will begin to pick up a little bit here. A little breezy from the south for the valley. Otherwise, those winds from the west off into the eastern mountains, the wind should subside again going into tonight and early tomorrow morning. All right, let's take a look at the big picture here. The big void of clouds, it really does tell the story of that high pressure pretty much remaining the dominant feature, keeping things fairly mild, or sure to say fairly warm out there. There's the fog out there this morning. Some of that fog may try to burn off in some areas here, especially out towards parts of Del Norte County, for example. But otherwise, we are still looking at that fog even later this afternoon and evening. I'm not anticipating any showers or thunderstorms in the mountains, but if we see anything, it may be in the form of a stray shower or sprinkle for parts of Siskiyou County, but otherwise it will still remain dry. All right, here's what we have in store for us today. Temperatures in the low 90s for Chico. Mid-90s out in places like Red Bluff, and upper 90s for Redding, 80s and 90s for the higher elevations, and upper 50s for the coast. Tonight we're dropping down to the low to mid-60s for the valley, so yes, it is cooling off at night. We at least have that. You think about during the heat wave this past weekend, temperatures only dropped down into the mid-70s, so about 10 to even 15 degrees cooler than during the heat wave for those overnight lows. Temperatures along the coast will be in the low 50s here for tonight. We take a look at your 7-day forecast for the valley. There you can see those temperatures in the mid to upper 90s through Sunday. But look at that. By Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we're talking upper 80s to low 90s for your daytime highs. That's about 10 degrees below normal for this time of year. For the coast, temperatures eventually back up into the low 60s over the weekend into early next week. Inland, temperatures also dropping down to the 80s, and that'll be the case for Trinity County as well. For Siskiyou, Modoc County, the eastern mountains, also seeing those temperatures drop a bit hazy. Most of the smoke is going to be, it rhymes. It's going to be north of the valley here for basically in the mountains north of the valley here. Because the winds are blowing from the south, it's going to blow most of that smoke up to the north. And that's why we're going to see most of the smoke and haze in that area. All right, let's take a look at that fire forecast. Now, as I talk about this, keep in mind that I do keep a close eye on the fires here, and we give you detailed information about the fires, latest information about the fires during my 6 o'clock in the morning update that I record, and also right here live on Coffee with Krueger, we take a look at the latest on the fires as well. So let's get you right to it. This is a look at a camera, the Highline Trail. You can see a lot of that smoke. This is looking out near where the actual green fire is, so it is still producing a lot of smoke. In fact, let's take a look at the images coming in from there. Oh boy, come on, you can do it. Let's get you out of there. Let's get you out of there, shall we? How about that? We're going to go ahead and take a look at, not that. We don't want to look at that. That's no fun. Why do you want to look at my calendar for different things that I have on Facebook? What we're going to do is this, not that, this. All right. So Ashley just refreshed this not too long ago. We're going to go ahead and stop this. And you can see here, there is right before sunset, you can see the yellow circles indicating where the green fire is, kind of at the center of your screen there. You've got the Butler fire to the north and west of that in southwestern Siskiyou County. See how they're kind of flaring up. And then overnight and this morning, we're not seeing any heat signatures coming in from those fires. Just wanted to show you that here so you kind of get an idea what kind of activity we have seen. Let's take a closer look now at the green fire. And we're going to take a look at a couple of things here. Let's see if it's going to work. See if we can get it to work here, shall we? It's not. So, not a problem. Let's get you right here. There you go. Now we're going to go ahead and take a look at the green fire, and there it is. So, a couple of things. So, what you're seeing here, look at the very north end of the fire. You see that arm right there? That arm is a bit of a fire operation. That is, the firefighters set that there intentionally. What they do is they try to get ahead of the fire. The fire is pushing northward, so they can get ahead of that and reduce the fuels for the fire, and that should help suppress the fire and keep it from growing and spreading. So what you're seeing here are those red dots. Number one, you see the red dots coming off of that arm. That is that continued fire operation. But number two, you see between the main fire and that arm to the north, there are red dots indicating that the fire is growing in that direction and heading toward their line that they made. You'll also notice on the east side of the fire, there are red dots indicating the most recent activity there. And on the south side of the fire, looks like we are seeing some growth there as well. 13% containment at over 16,000 acres. That is as of about midnight this morning. Take a look at the Butler fire, 9,936 acres as of 9:42 last night, 2% containment. The Jacket fire hasn't seen any change there. 96% contained at 46 acres. All those evacuation orders and evacuation warnings, be sure to know your zone so you know if you need to evacuate or not. Take a look at that fire tracker, and looking at the red fire, you can see as of noon yesterday, still hasn't seen much change there either. 116 acres at 95% containment. And now we're going to take you out to the Summit fire, where you can see the evacuation order of SIS-1414 and SIS-2100-A, still at 700 acres, 65% containment. This was as of yesterday morning at 8:40. So the updates don't kind of come in as much as I'm sure as you'd like, but we get those updates nonetheless. So much like yesterday. So here's the thing about Redding. What we saw yesterday actually was, for a brief period of time, the smoke started migrating southward into the north end of the valley, and then eventually that south wind kicked in and pushed that smoke back northward. We may see some of that smoke work its way into extreme north end of the valley, northeast Redding, for example. But as we go through the morning hours, those south winds will kick in, and that will blow most of the smoke up to the northeast of the green fire through the afternoon into this evening. You'll also notice the Butler fire, the winds coming in from the northwest, pushing that smoke down to the south and east. Most of that smoke, though, is going to be in southwestern Siskiyou County. Now, tonight, we are seeing some smoky skies in Modoc County in northeastern Shasta County. That's, of course, the case also in southwestern Siskiyou County. Then we start to see things kind of quiet down a bit. The winds die down. The smoke kind of settles over the fire itself. And then we see a repeat again. And this is taking you into just basically through Friday night. Still more of that smoke in Modoc County, but it looks like we may see more smoke filter down into northern Trinity County by tomorrow evening, tomorrow night. This would include places like maybe Weaverville, mainly north of Highway 299 and even along that Highway 3 corridor. Could be looking at some pretty smoky skies tomorrow night as you go into places like Trinity Center, Coffee Creek, for example, Callahan, and southern portions of Siskiyou County as well. All right, that's the latest look at the fire information. And we're going to, of course, give you a quick reminder that I've created a great web page for you. Just go to weathernorcal.com. Click on the fire danger section, and before you know it, you've got all the information you need about the fires. All right, let's take a look at the wind gusts that are sponsored by Defensible Space and Brush Removal. There we have the calm winds here for this morning. Those winds will probably pick up later this afternoon as we typically see. But the main thing I just wanted to really point out is that I'm still not seeing any major wind events heading our way. So just the typical calm winds in the morning, a little breezy in the afternoon, but nothing alarming at this point. And that'll continue pretty much even into your Saturday as well. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the fire weather risk. Nothing alarming here either. Pretty standard, moderate to barely in that high category as far as the fire weather risk is concerned. You see the numbers on your screen there. That is the relative humidity levels. Nothing unusual, but it is still very dry out there. So bottom line, we still can't let our guards down no matter what, no matter even if the fire risk goes down to low. It's that time of the year, these fires can still spread fairly rapidly. We're going to continue that trend most likely into Saturday afternoon as well. Take a look at Lake Oroville, North Forebay. You can see a little bit of a breeze out there with that streamer. Otherwise, you've got the mainly clear skies out there this morning. Here's a look at Main Street, Chico, where we do have, looks like things are looking pretty good. Unfortunately, it does look like the camera may have frozen there, so we can't really, unless maybe they're still just stopped there. There's a look at Highway 99 at Neal Road, and you can see the clear skies out there this morning. Looks like traffic is flowing smoothly there. Taking a look at Highway 44 at Sundial Bridge Drive in Reading, and you can see the sunny skies that we have out there, probably some haze in some areas. And taking a look at Crescent City, Harbor District camera here. We do have, looks like just some of that low clouds. Looks like some fog out there. Nothing unusual. We've been seeing that here pretty much all week long. Well, of course, we're going to take a look at some other great cameras here. This is Bald Hill West. This is looking down at Hoopa, and you can see looking way off in the distance. It's even hard to even see a bit of that orange glow coming in from the smoke. So there's really not a lot of smoke even out towards even the Hoopa area. Let's take you out to Soda Ridge. There's a look at Mount Shasta. If you look off a distance, you can see some of the smoke we do have out there. There's going to be that just a scattered smoke and haze really across Siskiyou County. There's a look at Fort Jones. Looks like we're seeing a little bit of the haze and smoke out there this morning, but overall, it looks like a beautiful shot there. Hey, today is Thursday. We have got our ag report. Even though I'm on vacation, we've still got your ag report, folks. So this is going to be part 2 of an interview I did with the folks over there at Oak Slough Farm, excuse me. And this is the part 2. We learned about last week about what they grow. And this week we're going to learn about what it is, what they do with what they grow, and how active they are in their community. Once again, want to thank Laston County Nursery for their support and sponsorship of NorCal Ag Report, which here it is. Hello everyone, I'm Mike Krueger from Weather NorCal. This is your NorCal Ag Report sponsored by Laston County Nursery. I'm out here at the Oak Slough Farms, and last week we talked about how big this farm is, what it is they do on this farm. And this week we're going to talk about what they do with all of the great things that they grow out here, and I think you'll be impressed with how active they are in the community. Check it out. You're actually a part of the community. I mean, you're distributing some of your products to different organizations. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so when we started last year, we did a lot of different distribution methods. We did both wholesale to grocery stores and to restaurants. We did the Red Bluff Wednesday night farmers market. We did to a kind of cumulative CSA program called Field to Fork in Red Bluff. We sold to the Food Hub in Chico. We really kind of like threw a bunch of darts at the board to see what stuck. This year, we tried to scale back a little bit and focus. And so we're doing 2 farmers markets because we also scaled back kind of like our labor this year. And so labor meaning our family, but like wanting to labor a little bit less. You know, I have a job in town as well. And so the farmers market allows you to just kind of bring whatever you actually have time to harvest that week. And so we're doing 2 farmers markets, the Reading Saturday and the Wednesday night in Red Bluff. And then we focused our wholesale markets on the Gleaners program in Red Bluff and the high school. And we did a lot of our spring production was for that, especially like salad mix was like, we just like focused on that for the spring. And then we also, one of our customers last year opened up a Polish restaurant in Red Bluff, and they're really interested in using seasonal produce. And it can be kind of hard to find restaurants that really want to work with the seasonality of a farm. And so it's been really fun to get to sell to them as well. And then sort of also in this whole distribution network, how we got hooked into, say, the food bank, the Gleaners in Red Bluff. Starting the farm last year, I think one of our biggest fears that we were going to grow all this food and we weren't going to have anyone to sell it to, or it just like takes a while to develop those networks. So we just decided that we were going to have a donation aspect of the program. And so any kind of extra food we produce, we donate. And so the extra produce from the Wednesday night market goes to Salvation Army in Red Bluff. They are one of the only organizations that actually gives out food every single day of the work week for families in Red Bluff, I should say. And then the food left over from the Saturday market goes to Path in Red Bluff, and they cook 3 meals a day for unhoused people in Red Bluff. And so that ended up getting us all hooked in the Gleaners program, which was really exciting because they were actually able to purchase large quantities of food from us too. So it really worked out well in these programs. They get donations from especially local grocery stores, but by the time something like produce gets donated to a food bank, it's usually like really on its way out. And so when we started talking to these organizations, there was just like a huge desire for fresh produce. And so that's just been a really positive relationship. We have like almost 0 food waste on our farm, which I think is really cool. So last but not least, we sell to grocery stores. And that's mainly Kent's Market in Anderson and Orchard Nutrition in Reading. It can be challenging to work with grocery stores to buy local stuff. It's a lot to interact with local farms, I think, and they're just not very used to it. And so we really appreciate those 2 markets like putting in the effort to do that. And we hope to do more of that, I think, in the future. So I think that's everything as far as distribution goes. So.
That's excellent. And kind of a fun note, Kent's Meat and Groceries is one of our sponsors at Weather NorCal, so that's kind of neat as well. Well, I'm thoroughly impressed. I mean, we had talked before this interview here, and then of course talking with you more. I'm really impressed with what you're doing with this farm, and what you're doing with everything that you're growing, and how you're really thinking ahead, and you're thinking about what it is you need to do with all of your products. So again, I'm thoroughly impressed, and I look forward to see what you guys do here in the future. Be sure to look out for them here. Of course, this has been your NorCal Ag Report, sponsored by Lassen County Nursery. Be sure to check out what these guys are doing over here, or these gals, shall I say here, what they're doing over here at Oak Slough Farm. There you got it. That's been your NorCal Ag Report, sponsored by Lassen County Nursery. We'll see you next time. Once again, I want to thank Lasson County Nursery, of course, Kenny Elwood for Lasson County Nursery for his support of Weather NorCal and sponsoring NorCal Ag Report, really since we started NorCal Ag Report. So he has been a strong supporter of not only the Ag Report, but Weather NorCal in general. So once again, thank you to Lasson Canyon Nursery. Well, what do you say we get to our deeper dive forecast? But before we do that, we are going to be talking a little bit about some of what you all are saying out there this morning. We got a couple people checking in this morning here. Let's take a look at what we got here. We've got Kimberly, and of course, we've got Stefan saying, good morning from Crescent City. Well, thank you so much for watching out in Crescent City. Have a great day. You too. James and Mandy Chappell saying, good morning. Love seeing the cool down. We do have a cool down in store for us, which we'll get into that here in just a second. Good morning. Hope everyone has a great day. Thanks, Mike. Always appreciate the in-depth forecast and the fire updates that's coming in from Tracy Sackett. We've also got Betty saying, good morning, Mike. Please send some tacos. You know, I didn't actually have any tacos yesterday. We went to a food truck place not too far from here. And believe it or not, we actually had some, it was like a teriyaki chicken type of thing. It was really good. Honest, I mean, seriously, it was like some seriously good stuff. And of course, James and Chappie Debbie Mitchell, there you go, saying good morning to all. So good morning to you. And let's get you back to the forecast. And of course, as you know, we've got sponsors here at Weather NorCal. We just talked about our NorCal Ag sponsor. Now we're going to talk about our Coffee with Krueger sponsor, made possible by Wind River Resort and Casino. This wouldn't be possible without them. At Wind River Resort and Casino, enjoy friendly service, a wide variety of specials and promotions, plus all of your favorite slots and table games. All right, let's get you right to the forecast. And we're going to start off with the current temperatures out there right now. We're sitting in the low 60s. You know, you think about the heat wave we saw this past weekend, those overnight lows were dropping down only in the mid to upper 70s overnight. So we're at least seeing these cooler mornings. Temperatures in the 50s for the higher elevations and low 50s right now for the coast. The big void of clouds over the eastern Pacific and really even over the western United States just is showing a sign of that ridge of high pressure that's still in place. But check this out. The Climate Prediction Center is putting us in the cooler than normal conditions. Now, looking at this map can be quite deceptive. Because when you see the blue and the cool temperatures, like, ooh, it's going to be nice and cool outside. No, it's still going to be hot. But temperatures are going to be as much as 10 degrees below normal for this time of the year. But keep in mind, the normal high in the valley, about 100 degrees. So it's still going to be quite hot. But look at the trend. You see the bubble of heat over the desert Southwest and over the Gulf of Alaska. Those are pretty much going to stay in place. Now, if you look closely, look to our north. You see that little area of blue? That is going to be diving southward. It's going to moderate before it gets here, but what it will do, you see that dip in the jet stream. That blue, then south of that blue, we start getting into the oranges into Northern California. That's more mild air. This is when we expect temperatures to drop by as much as 10 degrees below normal. It's keeping our temperatures in check. The main heat over the Gulf of Alaska, you can still see it's there. And the main heat over the desert Southwest is actually pushing eastward over the central United States. Both of those will expand a little bit more closer to us by the end of next week. That doesn't mean it's going to be a major increase, though, because that more mild air is still in place. So looking at your 10-day trend, yes, it's cooling off by Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but still in the upper 80s to low 90s. And then warming up back up into the mid to upper 90s by Thursday, Friday, into that next weekend. But look at the normal high for Reading, at least 101. That's normal. Normal high is 101. So even when we drop 10 degrees below normal, it's 91, right? Here's something that's interesting too. Just want to show you just how dry it is out there. We do have all of those rust colors over Northern California and really over California in general. You can see a little bit of that tongue of moisture coming into the Sierra. And that's, of course, going to maybe bring some showers and thunderstorms there in the afternoon hours. But for us, we've got clear skies. We don't see any thunderstorms in the forecast. Now, the thing is, Futurecast is picking up on some clouds this afternoon and even tomorrow afternoon. But overall, it's going to be dry. We still have that fog along the coast. Some areas along the coast will see some clearing throughout the afternoon hours, but otherwise, mostly cloudy skies. You can see even Friday afternoon, we're seeing some of those afternoon clouds in Siskiyou County. So could we see a stray shower, maybe an off chance for a thunderstorm to this afternoon, tomorrow afternoon, or even Saturday afternoon? It's not entirely out of the question, but I wouldn't count on it. We do expect to see some more clearing, though, looks like even for the coast by Saturday afternoon. Let's look at your lake levels, and they're still well over 100% of the historical average. So normally this time of the year, we are lower than where we are right now. So the lake levels are very healthy when we're talking about how high they are and what their elevation is. Taking a look at our wave heights, you have to look closely. There's the clock moving, but we're really not seeing the wave heights moving a whole lot. So no small correct advisories, but there is going to be that dense fog. So just be aware of that if you have to be out on a small boat. Southwest winds at about 5 knots. Your waves from the northwest at 5 feet at 9 seconds. All right, so for today, here's your Trinity County neighborhood forecast. Look at the 7-day forecast. And what you'll notice, the trend, minus, of course, the coast. But what you'll notice here, everywhere across the board, we've got cooler weather in store for us Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. For today, about 83 in Mad River, high in Palm about 91, and Hayfork topping out at about 97 degrees. For the North Coast, 88 degrees in Miranda, 87 for Redway, 83 degrees in Garberville, Ferndale, 61, 64 in Rio Dell, 63 degrees in Fortuna, and Hydesville, 65 degrees. 66 in Blue Lake, 97 for Willow Creek, 94 in Hoopa, 93 for Orleans, 75 out in Gas Key with sunny skies, and Orick about 63 degrees. For your Siskiyou County neighborhood forecast, in general hazy skies, some areas more smoke than others, especially southwestern Siskiyou County. Temperatures in the low to even some mid-90s for Scott Valley, with cooler temperatures going into early next week. Right around 90 for the most part in central and eastern Siskiyou County. For Modoc County, also right around 90 degrees, dropping down to the upper 80s by Monday. Eastern Mountains, there you can see we're looking at those temperatures in the upper 70s to low 80s. 87 degrees for Bernie, 87 degrees in Montgomery Creek, and 89 in Paynes Creek. Chester, you'll top out at 88. Look for a high of 84 in Westwood. Temperatures also dropping there later next week. Eastern Mountains to the south, Paradise 86, 94 in Susanville, as well as Doyle, 83 degrees in Portola and Kronberg, about 88 degrees. Your Valley neighborhood forecast to the south, your temperatures are going to be in the low 90s there, 92 for Corning, 90 degrees in Biggs. There's your 7-day forecast for Chico. Temperatures remaining in the low to mid 90s through the weekend, upper 80s. Yes, upper 80s in July for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Up to the north, 97 degrees for the city of Shasta Lake, all the way down to Anderson, 96 Palo Cedro, 95 in Cottonwood, and looks like Lakehead and Whiskeytown topping out at about 92 degrees. There's a look at your 7-day forecast for Redding. It's still fairly hot. I mean, we're still talking mid to upper 90s through the weekend, but look at that. I mean, we're going to average around 90 degrees or so come Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So it looks like some much more pleasant weather in store for us here as we do get into, when I say pleasant, instead of 100, more like 90. That's essentially what we've got here. So still hot, but at least we're going to be breaking away from those triple digits forecasts here. So that is always a welcomed sight. All right, that's going to do it for us this morning. Let's see if there's anybody else checking in and see if anybody's got anything going on here. It looks like that is not going to be the case. I'll try to share some photos here from our trip here. We didn't do a whole lot yesterday. Kind of a chill day. That's what I love about being here sometimes. You know, I've been coming out here for over 20, 25 years, and, I've seen most of it. So, sometimes it's just nice, especially after work, being up early in the morning, take a nice little nap. I'll maybe go for a jog on the coast. It's usually really nice. My son does some skimboarding. We just hung out with the dog on the beach yesterday for about an hour. It was really nice. So it's just kind of chill, relax. We call it Mexican time, where we're just like, whatever, So it's really nice. We're enjoying that. We do have some more relatives coming in later tonight. So excited about that. Aiden will have someone his age. In fact, he's got a cousin who's coming out who is 1 week older than him. And they have been coming out here since they were tiny, tiny little babies. So they live on the East Coast in Washington, D.C. So we don't get to see each other very often other than coming out here to Baja, Mexico. So they grew up together coming out here. And so that's so fun to have. They're teenagers now. And it's so fun to see them getting along, even though they haven't been able to spend their whole life together. Just these visits, so it's so neat. So really enjoying our trip here so far. It's been great. You can see I haven't even shaved. It's been a week, but I'll probably shave maybe at least for the Monday show next Monday. But that's going to do it for us this morning. It's been very pleasant out here. We haven't had any smoke. I don't want to brag about it. The temperatures have been like in the 70s. It was sunny yesterday. It's already starting out sunny out there this morning. So it's nice. I really do enjoy it. And I'm so grateful that you all are appreciative of what I do and that you still follow and watch what I do and continue to consider me a reliable source for your weather, even when I'm out here on vacation, because I can still be just as effective, what I've noticed here. And I'm excited to get a little bit more of a semi-permanent type of situation here. We'll actually have a green screen. So hopefully by the end of this year, I've got that. We'll see. Still going to be working on that. Got to get some of the equipment for that. So that'll be fun. So that's going to do it for us this morning. Hope you have yourselves a great rest of your day. We'll see you right here for your Friday edition of Coffee with Krueger. Until then, have yourselves a great rest of your day. And we'll just leave you with some photos here coming in here from different cameras. Have a great day, everyone.